All right, we are back at it. Welcome back to About the Buckets. I'm Jordan. We got Matty Ice. We got Mike McCoy. Uh, just here to talk some hoops because on Wednesdays we talk hoops. Um, got a really fun topic tonight that we're going to dive into. We'll see how much of the evening is occupied by this one topic. But Matty, go ahead and introduce us to what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah, so I don't remember how I got on this. I think it was a TikTok maybe or something, but it was guys from previous eras that would dominate this era of basketball. So we're kind of thinking before 2010, like approximate range, any guys before then. I have some guys that are like kind of like right at that cutoff. But their primes were like before that. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in hearing some of your guys' names. Who wants to go first though?
Mike, do you want to do the honors, or if you don't want to, I got one
Go
ready as
ahead.
well.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna lead it off with Ray Allen.
Oh,
Yeah, people mostly think of Boston and Miami Ray Allen. I'm talking like Milwaukee Ray
I'm
Allen,
so proud of you.
and
Oh man, I'm so proud of you.
yeah, I mean he was able to shoot. He got his numbers. He's has Curry passed him yet, or is he currently the
no, Curry passed him.
Yeah, Curry
Okay.
I'm
passed
pretty
you.
sure.
I
Yeah,
got
a
a tweet
while
to prove
back.
it.
Yeah, so
That was
he's
like
number
years
two.
ago, right?
He's not. Yeah, he's number two in most career 3-pointers made of all time. But so he got his numbers in his era. But man, thinking about what he would do in today's NBA, it would have just been a barrage of 3-pointers. He had the athleticism. He would have
He
been
did.
he was an all-star back then. I
Yep.
think he would have been like a top 12 player in today's NBA.
No lies said whatsoever. And like you said, you're talking about Milwaukee Bucks, Ray Allen, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. Dude wasn't. He had hair. He had like a fade. Okay. This is like
Yeah.
Jesus Shuttlesworth. Like,
Yeah.
like what you saw in the movie. That's what UConn had. That's what the early years or Seattle. Or are you
Yeah.
talking about Seattle Sonics?
Yeah.
Ray Allen, right?
Yeah.
The dude was an athlete. People didn't think he could dunk on you. He would yam on you. The dude
Yeah.
was it. He was a weapon, and you could shoot. Like he was an athlete. He wasn't a shooter that can get to the bucket. He was an athlete that can shoot, and
Yeah.
like he was a basketball player. Ray Allen was a badass and good one. That's a good one. I like that one.
Thanks.
You only doing one?
Well, I
One
can
at a
keep
time.
going.
Well, I
Okay.
think we're
Oh,
doing one
okay.
at a time,
Yeah.
right? And then
Okay.
we'll trade
Yep.
off until someone
Yep.
gets stumped or can't think of
Okay.
one. Mike, you want to go next or you want me to go next?
I don't know if you guys can remember his name. Well, you guys do because you guys are basketball players. But I'm gonna go with Detlef Schrempf.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Of
okay.
Cool.
I'm gonna go with Detlef Schrempf because as I pull up his stuff right here on basketballreference.com, you're talking about 6'10", 235 pounds of was he German? He
Yeah.
was German,
Yep.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the dude was ahead of his time. I mean, on the same team, the 1996 team that my Bulls beat the Seattle Supersonics for the championship, Sam Perkins was also on that team. I'm not going to say Sam Perkins because defensively he probably would be a liability in this era. I don't remember him as much as, a good lateral side to side guy. So I'm not going to say him, but he was another big that can shoot. But Detlef Schrempf had it all. He can take the ball off the dribble to the basket. He was
Yep.
long enough to defend the four, probably could defend the three in this day and age.
Yep.
But I like him because we're talking about guys whose skill set would fit in this age, and he was a dead eye shooter. Like I
Yeah.
said, 6'10", 235 was a mismatch, can score in the post, could move, can run. And we're talking about he played from 85 to 2001. Moved around a little bit, Dallas, Toronto, but his career averages were points per game. Let me close this. He averaged 13.9 in his career, but his best scoring year came in 1992, 1993 with the Pacers. And I mean, the dude was a problem. Actually, with Seattle, 94, 95, he scored 19.2 and was just, you couldn't leave him open.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with you mentioned Seattle. Jordan mentioned Ray Allen. I'm going to mention a teammate of Ray Allen's at one time, Rashard Lewis.
Oh, nice.
Mm,
He
It's a good one.
more of a recent player, kind of on that border,
Mhm.
but I think his prime was like 10 years too soon. So when you
Yeah.
mhm.
talk about a 6'10" guy that could shoot
Mhm.
from deep. He could put the ball on the floor.
Mhm.
Dude, in this era would
Yeah.
dominate. Would
Weapon.
be
Yeah.
a solid all-star every single season.
Yeah.
With the numbers that he put up. I loved watching him play next to Dwight as well. Those Magic teams were fun to
Oh
watch.
yeah.
When Dwight was dominating, and that was when they had like Vince Carter and stuff too, and Jason Richardson at one point too. But yeah, no, that's my first one. Who you got next, Jordan?
So I'm gonna go with Mr. 5x5 himself, Andre Karolinko.
That's the one we talked about.
Yeah. I like him as a small ball center would be dominant in
Oh,
today's
yeah.
day and age.
Yeah.
Like,
He literally did it all.
yeah, I mean, I think I can't remember if he's like first or second in all-time 5x5s, but that's 5 points, 5 blocks, 5 steals, 5 assists, 5 rebounds in the same game. He does everything. He wasn't a great shooter, but he was like the prototype of a small ball center, 6'9", great at defense. He could pass the ball a little bit, and was crafty in the post. I don't necessarily think he'd be a great scorer, but I think he would be like. I mean, he was kind of like the Draymond Green prototype, I mean, obviously totally different personality, but the play style is there. He's just a utility basketball player, and I think this era would be much more comfortable for him. I mean,
he is what Alex Caruso is right now. If Alex Caruso was 6'9".
Yeah, exactly.
Alex,
and
oh my god,
it's unfortunate because Jerry Sloan really forced him
Maddie.
to play small forward. Like Karolinko was a small forward for his whole career.
Right.
When really he should have been playing power forward or center. Well, in this era, he'd play power forward or center.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it would have been really fun to watch him.
What he did have was the best nickname ever.
Yes,
in basketball, AK-47. Like you can't top that. That was awesome.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't be able to have that nickname in this day and age.
Yeah. I will say underappreciated, and even in Jazz fandom, because he had an all-star season in 2004, and then the Jazz gave him a 7-year, $100 million contract.
Wow.
That, 7 years is way too long.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like an MLB contract. Right?
Yes.
Especially back then, that's a big deal.
By the end of his 7 years, man, like even though Jazz fans loved him, it was like we're still paying this dude, so yeah, it's unfortunate that even in Utah he's kind of underappreciated just because we all got so tired of that contract.
Okay.
Mike, you got another one? I got a name. I'm hoping you say this name eventually.
So I'm going in my 90s bag, and eventually I'll move up. But I think Jalen Rose would have dominated in this era.
Yeah,
I think Jalen Rose would have killed it. Number one, he's left-handed, and for whatever reason, I don't understand why. A lot of defenders find it hard to guard a left-handed guy. I don't get it. I never had that issue. I don't understand why. A lot of my good friends who were good defenders, I don't get it. But he was left-handed, did everything. Can get to the hoop, can dribble. Good decision maker, because remember he played point guard. And I think Jalen Rose was a good 6'7" at the very least, maybe 6'8", maybe 6'6". I wouldn't give any more than 6'7", but definitely at least 6'6". Good decision maker, willing passer, can shoot, and a solid defender. So I think he'd be really good in this league. Could run the floor, and like I said, I think the decision making part of his game is the part of his game that a lot of people don't appreciate. But Jalen Rose is my guy.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with the commonality, and I'm gonna go with a lefty too, and that is Lamar Odom, one of the most underrated players to ever play in the NBA. Never made an All-Star team. Was huge for the Lakers. I know, huge for the Lakers. Great playmaker at 6'10". I think he would dominate this era. The versatility and size and stuff. You just don't see that often at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like watching him play is like it was like Ben Simmons almost, but like he could legitimately score the ball. Like, I don't want. We're not going to get into another Ben Simmons debate.
No. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, he would be my next guy.
That's a good one.
Absolutely.
I will say, being on the wrong end of those Lakers teams in the playoffs multiple times in that era, Lamar Odom was the most that was the player that I feared the most on the
Yeah,
Lakers
man.
Mhm.
because he destroyed our bench unit.
Yeah.
Like I was just telling Maddie this, like I watched all those games. I was at a lot of those games, the playoff, it wasn't, I don't want to make it sound like the Jazz, were going head to head with the Lakers. We lost every time we played them in that era, late
Mhm.
2010 or 2000s. But our starting unit was good, and it could for the most part hang with the Lakers.
Okay.
Kobe and Powell and our starters go to the bench. Lamar Odom comes out with that bench unit and absolutely destroyed us every single time. And so, it was just, that's a good pick. I agree with you. Okay, for my next one, let's see. Ooh, there's a few different ways I could go here. I'm going to go with Pistol Pete Maravich.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
He was known for shooting the deep ball when they didn't even have the 3-point line.
Crazy.
I mean, all I can watch is some grainy black and white footage. Some crappy YouTube footage. But I would imagine it would look a lot like Trae Young into today's NBA. The crafty passes, the ball handling.
Yeah.
Maybe some shades of Steph Curry, but shooting it deep. I mean, talk about being ahead of your era.
Yeah.
Being ahead of your era by 50 years is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So and unfortunately, Pistol Pete didn't have that great of an NBA career for how lauded he was in college basketball. But I think things would have been different if he played today.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a big. I'm gonna stick with my '90s bag, and you gotta go Akeem the Dream Olajuwon. Okay. Can't talk about his defense, and he was agile enough to go out there and defend. I think he could do that in today's NBA. Legit 7-footer, not your bulky, I can't move 7-footer. I mean, the guy played soccer, for crying out loud. He was a soccer player. Okay. What he was like in the post. He had a touch from 15 and out. Okay. And oh, by the way, he can dribble. He can dribble. Obviously, he didn't use it because he was, the paint was packed back in the day. But Akeem knew how to handle that rock. And I think that I don't know, I don't want to say Giannis, but that's probably the closest thing I could compare him to. I think he would be a different type of player in this era, but I think he would definitely get his.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with a guy that I didn't really see play that much. But I think he would dominate. I mean, I was like 5 or 6 when he was playing. Kind of an off-the-wall guy. I wanted to go with a big man. I'm going to go with Domantas Sabonis' dad.
Arvydas Sabonis. Good one.
The versatility. He was a good passer. He had 3-point ability. I think he definitely would have had more volume if he played in today's era. Pretty good defensive player, I think, as well. So I think he's someone that would have the opportunity to dominate in this era as well.
I kid you not, I was teasing you guys that I was watching videos of a big man,
And
it
that's
was
who it was?
Arvydas Sabonis. Yeah,
That was it.
and
he was good.
dude, talk about 7'3" Nikola Jokic.
It's crazy.
I was saying that in my head as you were talking, Maddie. I'm like, well, I'm probably going a little bit over the edge with that one, but I'm glad I'm not alone.
I mean, this dude is throwing behind the back passes, no look passes out of the post. But
crazy.
He was 7'3", 300 pounds.
Legit.
So, and could also put the moves on you. So, he's doing a spin move, he's dunking on you. If not, he's doing a no look pass to a cutting teammate. So yeah, that's a great one. He was on my list too.
Do you guys want to do one or two more each, or what do you think?
I'm having fun
now.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah,
let's keep going.
I'm low key pretty pissed off that you still are I thought I was like that. I had that in the bag. I was like, I'm gonna save it for later because these guys aren't gonna say it.
That's a good one.
About it.
I was thinking about him, but I wasn't going to because I'm thinking I don't know if he would be whatever. But he only played
He played in Europe a lot.
Yeah.
A lot
In
of
the
seasons.
NBA, he only played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Okay,
And
all
that
with
was like
Portland.
later too. That was like because I don't think he was. I mean, he was still in his prime, but like
His rookie year, he was 31 years old.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
31 years old.
That
Highest
means I
points.
can make it, right, guys? I'm 28. I can
Listen, we're in America, man. Land of dreams. Okay.
Yeah. You
There we
just need to
go.
be 7'3", 300 pounds, and have that insane bag.
I'm definitely closer to the 300 pounds.
Same. Same. All right. So, I mean, kind of a callback to what I was saying earlier. But man, I just like Reggie Miller in this order, or in this era. Reggie Miller, like,
No doubt.
would have been a guy that the Warriors would have traded 3 first-round picks for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would have just turned them from maybe the best team of all time to a lot better. You know, like, I don't know. There's him and Ray Allen, like dudes that could just uncork it from 3, but were so well rounded that they could survive in an era where coaches got mad at you if you shot the 3.
hmm
You know, so I would love to see Reggie Miller play in this era. He's actually one of my favorite players ever. When I was growing up, you know, kind of in the when the Jazz didn't really have like a guy that was big, it was Reggie Miller for me. So
So
Mike,
go
before
ahead.
you say this one, if you don't say the guy that I'm thinking you're gonna say, I'm gonna say it.
Okay, I doubt I am. I mean, I got a
Okay.
list here, but we'll see. But to add to your Reggie thing, very few guys, and Steph is that guy, but I don't feel it because I don't root against Steph. I
Yeah.
had to root against Steph as against Reggie as a Bulls fan. All
Yeah.
right, several years, and especially that '98 playoffs. And my dad still is a Knicks fan. So growing up, like I would root for the Knicks because my dad was watching the Knicks. Those Knicks Pacers series, when Reggie Miller would shoot, a lot like Steph fans that just cringe, like you thought it was going in every time. No
Yeah.
matter where he was from the floor, like the dude, like you hated him getting a shot off because it was like, oh my god, like, and when he missed, it was like, thank God. But
Yeah.
scary shooter.
And one, sorry, I don't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead, go.
The thing I love about Reggie is what he has over Steph is like he had this intensity to him. You know, Steph is kind of
Oh
known
yeah,
as
he's a
like
quiet killer. Yeah.
yeah, like Steph has fun. Like we all see it. Steph has fun. And Steph can take the life out of a stadium in 3.5 seconds. But Reggie had he had this intensity, like just this look, where
Yeah,
it was
he wanted
much
to
more of
hurt
an
you. Yeah.
imposing player than Steph, just in terms of his aura,
Yeah, I hear that. No, I hear that.
Yeah.
That's a good debate to have. I'm gonna go with Steve Nash. I'm gonna go with
nice.
Steve Nash because I mean, whenever you needed a 3, he was gonna hit it. Right? He was a point guard that can shoot. Damn, he could run the offense. I mean, ran D'Antoni's offense to a T. I think this would be wide open for him. He would average 12 assists per game if he already didn't do that once in his career.
Yeah.
And I think he'd start on plenty teams right now. Awesome pick and roll point guard. And Steve Nash is a dude.
Yeah.
Why do I think I know who you're gonna say now, Maddie? Go ahead.
Wait, who do you think I'm gonna say?
Is it a Bulls player?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
You play for the Nuggets.
For the Nuggets. Give me a year.
Like I think through the 90s.
Through the 90s?
Come on, he's a point guard.
You're talking about oh God, got in trouble with the Star Spangled Banner?
Mahmoud.
Yes.
Abdul. Yeah.
Oh God, what was his name?
Rauf.
Yeah.
Rauf.
That's how you say it.
Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. Yes.
He was
dude
Steph
a
Curry
problem.
before Steph Curry, man.
Dude was a problem.
I thought you were gonna say him. I was waiting for it, man.
He
I
was
mean,
a
if you
problem.
look at the if he had the volume, that shooters are getting now, in this era, dominant force.
That dude was a pure scorer. Yeah.
Pure score.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, he was the guy I was gonna list off. I thought you were gonna name him, but I'll list him off.
That's a
Yeah.
good one, man. That's a very good one because he was a threat. I heard there was an interview that Jordan was talking about him, and nothing but respect because the dude would. I think he gave in the interview that I was talking about. He's one of the dudes that Jordan said that he just gave him fits. There was this one game he took over the Bulls playing in Denver, and he just took that game. Oh, he did it all. He could score from anywhere on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good one. Good name.
All right, let's go. Come on, Jordan. Who you got?
Okay, so I'm going to go with the Matrix, Sean Marion.
Ooh,
Great
okay.
one.
Another
Great one.
small ball center that would have just obliterated you in small lineups. I mean, he could do it all. That's why they call him the Matrix. You know, maybe the ugliest shooting form I've ever seen in my whole life. But he could pass, he could defend 5 positions, and just the ultimate glue guy.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, if you just took that 2010 Suns team and transported them in a time machine to
It was earlier
today,
than that. It was earlier than that.
was it?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
2010
maybe
was
2006.
like mid 2000s. Yeah.
Okay, so 2006. Let's just say you take that 2006 Suns team, put it in a time machine, and bring it to this year. They probably win the
They'll
finals.
be winning. Yeah, they'll be winning.
Yeah, with Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, Steve Nash. They probably win the finals this year.
Maybe not because of their coach, but I see what you're getting at.
Yeah. It's just they were just all way ahead of their time, and
No,
Sean
for
Marion
sure.
was such a big part of that. So
Raja Bell, they got it.
yeah.
I'm gonna stick to the ugly shooting form, okay? Because this guy was not an offensive threat, but he was probably the most important player on a team that upset the Lakers when they had 4 Hall of Famers in a starting lineup with Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Tayshaun Prince. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, if Draymond can do it now, I think Tayshaun can be a kind of player. Look, in an age where defense isn't a premium, he can provide that. He can definitely guard 5 players. Okay.
Yeah.
He can give you a double-double without drawing up plays for him. And he had an ugly shot that we couldn't. He was reliable from like the baseline or a 15 or 20 footer. I think Tayshaun would be maybe not dominate in this era, but I think he could start and be a contributor on a championship team in this era. Prime Tayshaun Prince.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Since you went with yours, because I don't remember what we posted that you said Tayshaun. I think it was like players that we liked watching that no one talks about or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, my boy, Hedo Turkoglu. I'm going to go with Hedo Turkoglu. Dude that was ultra... you talk about versatility. Hedo Turkoglu, man. One of the more like slept on NBA players in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in that like border all-star range, for like some of his prime. He had one crazy year when he was on Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was when Dwight was there. He put up like 26 and 5 or something like that, which is insane in that era. He's someone that I would probably put. That's another guy that's kind of like right on the border of that 2010, but I think his prime was well before that. He's another guy too that people don't remember. Dude could shoot too.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a career 38% 3-point shooter. I think he would be really good in this era as well. So that's a guy I would go with.
I remember him because when Peja was doing his thing with the Kings, Hedo was on those teams. He was just like the 3rd, 4th guy not even off the bench, but he was one of the last guys on the bench, and he was a young Hedo. But I'm thinking, then this is another Peja. Peja wasn't 6'10" like Hedo was, but still the same type of guy, European guy that could shoot. And that's another thing. Hedo Turkoglu was 6'10". Like he was a legit 6'10", 220. So yeah, he was a problem.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give you another guy that was an all-star, was an all-NBA player, but I think would have been a lot better in this era, and that is Tracy McGrady.
Oof.
I probably would lead the league in scoring every season this year. So when his year in Orlando, I can't remember which year it was, he was 23 years old, averaged 32 points a game, and he shot like 38% from 3 on 7 attempts. And doing that back then, kind of unheard of. And just being able to keep that volume, sustain that volume, building offenses around that volume. And not to mention like the mid-range game that he had and his
Oh,
ability
yeah.
to get to the hoop.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
McGrady would have just been a monster. Like
Mhm.
I wonder, I'm not saying this definitively, I wonder if he wouldn't be called the best offensive player in the NBA if he played today.
That's not a stretch.
I mean,
Yeah.
Kobe said that he was the toughest guy for him to guard. He had the most trouble with. So
Yeah.
when you look at the physical tools, the athleticism mixed that with the skill, like it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I can't remember which team it was, but he was like playing point guard towards the end of his career for
Mhm.
like I
San
don't remember if it was like
Antonio?
the Pistons or the
Yeah.
maybe San Antonio. I don't remember exactly what team it was, but I picked him up like in fantasy basketball and he was listed as a point guard and I was like, what?
Yeah. He did have a year in Detroit as well.
He did.
He had a year at Detroit and then on the Hawks too, because I remember I saw the Hawks play the Wizards when I was in DC and he was still on the squad.
Yeah.
I remember there was a year that he was on the Spurs roster, and I think it was
Yeah.
the year that the Spurs lost to the Heat in the
Yeah.
finals. Well, the year that Ray hit that corner three, because I remember saying I want him to get a ring, even though it'll be cheap. I want him to get one.
Yeah.
But I don't think he even ever played. I think they picked him up like really late or whatever. I don't know, but he was on the roster.
Yeah.
But that dude, 6'8", 210. If he only stayed in in Toronto with Vince, what could have been?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, there's a few stories that little before my time of being like fully aware of what was going on behind the scenes in the NBA, but I had listened to a podcast where they said that it was very close to Tim Duncan signing with the Orlando Magic
Yeah,
to play with Tracy
yeah.
McGrady.
Yeah.
Like holy crap.
And I think
you
Grant
know?
Hill too.
Yeah. Yeah, could
Grant
you
Hill, too.
imagine
The
could
three
you
of them.
imagine Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady,
That was a
and Tim
name I
Duncan?
was gonna say too, though. Grant Hill for this list as well.
Yeah.
I would have killed it.
I mean, those three, I don't know, probably would have been one of the more effective big threes of all time.
They would have
yeah.
absolutely even dominated this era.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a stretch either.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Grant Hill was a shoot. Any event, I'm gonna go ahead. I kind of gave it away last time. I think Scottie Pippen. I mean, talk about LeBron before LeBron. I
Yeah.
mean, this is a guy that should have won the MVP in '95 when Mike stepped away. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough respect for how
He
good he
doesn't.
was in Chicago.
Yeah.
The dude was the best player in the NBA for those years. I know, and I'm not taking anything away from Hakeem, all right, or anybody else that was in the running for best player. But my goodness, people thought that the Bulls were just going to fall flat, and they didn't because of Scottie. Okay,
Yeah.
would lock you. People said that Mike would lock the other team's best player up. No, that was Scottie. Okay, and there was plenty of times that Scottie bailed the Bulls out. It wasn't Mike. But Scottie Pippen, my goodness, did it all and did it with a smile on his face. Defense first guy, intense defense, awesome at the line, just long arms. The dude was a problem. I love Scottie Pippen.
So interesting stat for Scottie Pippen. Let me make sure I have this right. I'm pretty sure I do. So in the Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate, an interesting wrinkle is Michael Jordan had more seasons with an All-NBA first team teammate than LeBron James has had in his career.
Believe that.
And I mean, you look at the list of people LeBron has played with, it's extensive. It's a lot of Hall of Famers. It's a lot of really good players. Scottie Pippen had more first team All-NBA selections by himself than all of LeBron's teammates combined. And that's playing with LeBron or playing with them at the same time. So LeBron has only had Anthony Davis get it in 2020. And Scottie Pippen did it twice with Michael Jordan and once without him. So, yeah, one of the 5 best players in the NBA for 3 years at least.
Dude is one of the best small forwards, period.
And I agree. I think the myth of Michael Jordan, or the legend of Michael Jordan, really overshadows what Scottie Pippen was able to do in his career.
Yeah, for the what we like to call the not the average fan, but what's the nickname? That
Casual?
we use? Casual. For the casuals, 100%. But for,
Yeah.
for 3 people that have no lives like us on a Wednesday night, talking
Yeah.
basketball, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go. I was debating. I have a couple names left. I'm gonna go with a guy that's kind of. I mean, I feel like I have a common theme. I named some guys from previous era, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with a guy that played. He was still playing in 2010. Little right on the border. I don't know if you can count this one. I'm gonna say Kevin Garnett.
Oh,
Because I feel
nice.
like if he just played like a few years later, the versatility you saw, I think something that was underrated about his game was his playmaking ability. I think he's someone that could dominate this era for sure. And honestly, I think that we might see I don't know if I should say this, a KG 2.0 and Evan Mobley, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
I think there's a lot of similarities in their games,
Yeah.
and I think that he could reach that potential, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
No, I don't hate that at all.
You just touched a very sensitive spot, okay? Because there have only been 3 players that I have called my favorite players in the league, and I was very sure and
Can I
very
name the other
certain.
two?
Go.
Is it Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook?
No. It's Mike and it's Jimmy Butler.
Oh, okay, okay.
But and Ray Allen is very close, but I made it a point to not have any more than one fave in the game at a time. So Mike was
Okay.
by himself. Then it was KG. Even though Jimmy was playing when KG was, I was like, no, I'm not gonna name him he's my second fave. And when KG retired, I didn't even cry when Mike retired. I cried when KG retired because I
Yeah.
got to see his entire career. KG was
Yeah.
the man. He has a couple
You
records that I
love some
can't think of
intense
right now.
players, man.
Mike, Jimmy, KG, and like I said, Ray was close, but I've only had 3 favorite players of all time, and
You
those
like
are it
that
right there.
attitude. You like that
Oh my
attitude.
God,
Yeah.
KG, my goodness, man. And there was a big story about when he moved to Chicago from South Carolina and why he moved. It was a problem. He didn't want to move, but his mom did it for the sake of him. And KG, that interview that he had with John Thompson at center court about winning and stuff. Oh my God, I love KG. Great selection.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
So my next pick, I think if he played in this era, I think it could be the closest thing that we could see to Giannis from a past era, and that's David Robinson.
Oh,
okay.
I mean, in '93, I believe he averaged. Let me pull it up. I know he averaged 5 assists. So yeah, 30 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists for
Jeez.
David
In
Robinson.
93, he averaged 30 points in 93. Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, that was his best year. But he had a year that he averaged 13 rebounds, 26 points, and
Damn.
and 3 assists. So, I mean, in this modern era, I think you would have seen David Robinson have the ball in his hands a lot more. But talk about a dude who could do it all, a physical specimen.
Oh yeah, he was chiseled.
You know, and yeah, he could handle the ball, man. I think if you put him in this era, probably Giannis 2.0, man.
I guess this is a fringe guy. Maybe not. I mean, he did win a championship, and I think he called it a career maybe a year or 2 after that. Let me pull it up right now. Uh-oh. This was an unexpected phone call. Give me a second, guys.
You good?
Let me hop off, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got
right.
one. I thought of one. I was out at guys, Jordan, but I thought of one. Played for a bit. I don't have this. Totally just came into my head.
Yeah.
Dražen Petrovic, man.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
One of the greatest shooters. Reggie Miller called him the greatest shooter of all time. I don't know if
Yeah.
you'd still agree with that statement, you know, with
Yeah.
what Steph has been doing.
Yeah.
But Dražen Petrovic, that's a guy I would
Yeah.
name. Mike's face, man. Okay, I got a good
Yeah.
one. So he's
Yeah.
we should have done like teams. We should have made
Yeah.
like teams. I just thought of that, but
That
Yeah.
would be fun.
yeah, but that's who I got next. Mike, you good with your next one as well?
Yeah. I was looking up when his last season was because it was a fringe guy, kind of like yours. When you mentioned, what was the last one that you mentioned?
KG.
KG. So this individual's last year in the NBA was 2010, 2011, but he was an afterthought at that point. He
Yeah.
did win a championship with the Heat when the Heat won their first championship. He was a starter at the point guard position on that team, and I'm talking about none other than Jason Williams, White
Yeah,
Chocolate.
White
Ooh.
chocolate. I thought about saying him earlier. I love it.
I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
that dude was a human highlight reel. Can shoot the three in transition. Had eyes behind his head, and it was just a lot of fun to watch. Everybody talks about Steph being, the most exciting player they've ever seen. This is probably the most exciting player I've ever seen besides Steph, and the dude was just awesome. Went to UF. White chocolate, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I've been toying with saying this one because kind of half of his career was before 2010, half was after. But man, I think if you were to roll him out today in his 20s, it would have been lights out, and that is Kyle Korver.
Okay.
Dude, that's my guy.
Yeah, he's my guy. I freaking love Kyle Korver. I always, when I was playing, junior jazz is what they call it out here. When I was playing junior jazz as a little kid, I wore the knee-high socks because of Kyle Korver. And I just was totally captivated by him as a Philadelphia 76er early in his career. And then he got traded to Utah for who did we trade him for? Can't think of the dude. Gordon Giracek. It was Gordon.
Was that when you
Giracek.
traded him?
Wow.
Was that when he got traded for like a copy machine or whatever?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was. But his final year in Utah, this is absurd, and it's still an NBA record to this day. He shot 54% from three.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
And can I just say something too? The reason why he was so effective was because, you talk about technique and efficiency and whatnot. What made him such a great shooter was his off-ball movement.
Yeah.
Him understanding angles. Like
Mhm.
it made me a better shooter watching
For sure.
him, seeing everything.
Yeah.
One of the greatest shooters ever,
Yeah.
honestly.
That's actually, when I think of Kyle Korver, I don't envision him shooting. I envision him running around.
Running
pin
to
down.
get. Yeah,
Running
exactly.
to the spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, like I know he played into this era and he was effective into this era, had an
it's a great
all-star
pick.
appearances for the Atlanta Hawks. But I mean, he was what, like 34 by the time he was in
Yeah.
that he had his all-star appearance.
Yeah.
And
I
man,
will take him right now.
I would have
at
loved
his
to
age
seen
on the Lakers.
25-year-old Kyle Korver play on a, I mean, could you imagine him like playing off of Luka or, playing in, off of James Harden, one of like a situation like that, it'd be staggering his ability to shoot.
With that hair that he had on the Sixers, the
Yeah.
mushroom head, like
Dude. Well, that's the thing is like, I mean, he was like cool back in like 2002 or 2003 when he played, like that's who I wanted to be. He had the cool hairstyle, he had his socks pulled up to his knees, and I mean, yeah, he's who I wanted to be. So
Okay, that's a good one.
yeah, I think I was like 8 years old watching him. Yeah, I wanted to be Kyle Korver.
Nice.
He's got to be top 10 in all-time threes, right? I think he
I'd
is.
imagine
Yeah.
so.
Oh,
I
for sure.
think he is.
Yeah,
He's top
there's
10
no way
all
he's
time.
not.
Yeah.
He's probably like 6 or 7, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think that's a safe call. This is a throwback for sure. I'm in my 90s bag. A guy that played mostly on the West Coast throughout his career. Mitch Richmond was a bucket
nice.
getter.
Yeah.
Mitch Richmond was a bucket. Forget a bucket getter. He was a bucket. His lowest scoring output of his career was actually 4 points with the Lakers, but that doesn't count because he like barely played. His lowest scoring output was 16 points. Just so happened to be the year right before that, in 2000, 2001 with the Wizards. His career high points per game was 23.9, and that was in his third year in the league with the Warriors. So he was part of that what do they call him? Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin, and
Run
TMC.
Yeah.
It was Timmy
Mullin
and or whatever. It was Mitch Richmond, but was a problem. And went to K-State. Jordan called him one of the most gifted scorers he's played against. So if Mike says that, then I think you're legit. But Rich Richmond can play in this era right now.
Okay. I got one that I just randomly thought of, and it's kind of another cheat. But right on the border of that 2010. I think this one's kind of off the wall too, but I don't think it's that crazy. Danny Granger. People
Okay.
forget
Yeah.
how good Danny Granger was. Only one All-Star appearance.
Yeah.
Dude could light it up from 3, create his own shot, and he was 6'9".
He
I
was that
completely
tall?
forgot
Oh,
how
wow.
tall.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 6'9". Had the athletic ability. I think some injuries. I want to say it was injuries that kind of hindered his career.
Mm.
But like I think of like that Pacers team because I think that was like right when PG got drafted like a few years, and so Granger was kind of little past his prime. If they were
Yeah.
both in their prime, oh my god, that would be
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem. He's someone that I would take in this era, man. Honestly, he was one of my favorite players during that
Yeah.
time period. Actually,
I was a big Danny Granger fan as well.
yeah.
So, dude, I'm in hell right now. The Jazz just beat the Warriors on a last-second dunk by Simone Fontecchio.
Never heard of him. Okay.
Yeah, I know. They were down by 1, and Simone Fontecchio dunked the ball with 1 second left, and the Jazz win.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah, I need those losses, man. That sucks.
Tank mode.
I know, dude. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I just hate
No, you're
basketball
good, man.
sometimes. Is it back to my turn?
I think so.
Yeah, we're keeping this going or what?
Oh,
For as long as you guys want to.
We're at 41 minutes. Should we get into some other stuff, or you guys want to keep going?
I got an hour tops.
Yeah,
same.
I do too.
Same.
Let's see. So I have one name written down left.
Okay.
It's my Jazz homer pick. But Mehmet Okur.
Oh,
You guys
that's
remember him?
that's actually a really good one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one of the most overlooked guys who had an All-Star appearance in NBA history. I don't know. Most people probably don't know that. I think it was 2007. Made the All-Star game. Stretch 5. He was one of the guys that really like kind of pioneered that stretch 5 idea.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think in today's NBA, I mean, yeah, probably like a rich man's Brook Lopez on offense, but didn't have the defensive prowess. But yeah, probably would have had a few more All-Star appearances.
I have one more too. Hopefully Mike doesn't take it.
I hope not. There's not much to say. Magic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I got a similar one to you actually.
Yeah.
Another tall point guard by the name of Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Penny, oh my God, injuries again.
And you know what made me think of it? You know what made me think of it too is I have my Penny shoes up here. So I was looking at them and I was like, oh
man,
Penny Hardaway.
6'7", dude was smooth. One of the most unguardable one-on-one moves I think that anybody on this panel has ever seen. When he would do that kind of fake spin thing, just look up, I guess YouTube it, Penny Hardaway fake spin move. You're gonna be like, wow, I can't even describe it. I've never tried to even do it. It's a tough move and it worked every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was another one that I just thought of. Let's move on, but I'm just gonna Charles Barkley would have been way better in this era. Yeah. But anyways, let's move on to what's next. So did we want to talk about young players or did we want to do more of an overall recap of the league?
Let's do overall recap since we just have like 20 minutes.
Okay. So let's talk about your Lakers first. I hate talking about the Lakers, but I know her.
Oh man, you kind of got to now, man.
I
AD
know.
doing his thing,
and they deserve it. They deserve it. And
yeah,
I like to tease you, Maddie. I mean, Jazz fans just hate the Lakers, man. We've been little brother for way too long. So
yeah, well, I think the biggest thing for the turnaround has been like you saw like the first. I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but the first 5 games they were taking an astronomical amount of threes because I think there was an adjustment period of like, the spacing that was available and stuff. I think they shot like 20. I want to say like, it was 24%. The reason I remember that is because I told my friend it was 24% for Kobe.
yeah. Nice.
But yeah, no, I mean the last few games, last 10, I think they were like 8-2, I want to say, until they lost like the previous two. But I mean, LeBron and AD were out, so
Yeah.
they lost to I think it was the Raptors tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
By
Yeah.
like 13. I mean, it was improvements in terms of like they're not shooting as many threes, and the ones that they're open, so they're
Yeah.
making a higher percentage of them. And I mean, Anthony Davis has just been an absolute monster inside the paint. You know,
Yeah.
he's putting up like NBA my career numbers
Yeah.
right now, and just dominating on both sides of the floor, and has arguably been one of the best players in the
Yeah.
past like 10 games
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
in the
Absolutely.
league.
Absolutely.
So to me, and then like hearing all these trade rumors going on, like with the Bulls and what was the other one that I heard recently too? There was the DeMar and Vucevic one, and then there was De'Aaron Fox, that they were going to
Oof.
trade Russ and like 2 picks for De'Aaron Fox.
Mm.
I don't know about those. I don't think that fixes any of our problems.
Yeah.
I think we need more depth. But I don't know. We'll kind of see. It's all gonna depend on how healthy AD can stay.
Yeah.
I think that AD, he was out because of it wasn't injury, but it's sickness. I'm pretty sure they decided to just rest LeBron too because AD was already going to be out. But I mean, if he can stay healthy, that's a big if. I don't see why they can't keep it up. Maybe not at this margin, but
Yeah.
Well,
I kind of answered my own question when I didn't kind of. I was looking at, his latest, and I'm thinking, what the hell happened? You mentioned injury, and I saw he only played 8 minutes yesterday, but I saw why he exited, and it was due to flu-like symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's good to
Yeah.
hear. But he's having, man, a really good stretch. Not the Steph-like stretch that Steph had, because Steph had a 10-game stretch in 2021
Yeah.
that rivaled what Kobe did twice in his career. Because I don't know if you guys remember, Kobe had 2 different instances in his career where he went ballistic for 10 games. Okay,
Yeah.
one was in like
there was one with Shaq when
right.
Shaq came back from injury. He had 9 straight games with at least 40 points.
Yes.
And then there was another one.
A
It
little
was
later in
like
his career, he
we
had like
always call it it was the dark ages. It was like 07, I think it was, or
Uh-huh.
06, where he was putting up like it was like for a month, I think, or
Yeah, no, it
something.
was for the entire month
Yeah.
of February. It was
Yeah,
ridiculously stupid.
I went to 2 of the games. One of them was against the Mavericks. It was absolutely insane.
No. But yeah, he's having that because I mean he only had 30 plus for 4 games in a row. But why I bring those 2 guys up is because the impact that he's having. And you don't want to know what conversation I hate to have, because I'm gonna be in the minority every time, but I don't care about it. I don't have a problem giving an MVP to a guy that doesn't make the playoffs. And if that happens this year, and if Miami, why did I say Miami? If AD keeps
Because they're
playing the
not
way
making
that
the
he's
playoffs.
maybe it just kind of went together. If AD keeps having the year that he's having, and the Lakers don't make the playoffs, he's the MVP.
Yeah.
He's the MVP. Okay, I don't care. I don't believe, because this is not a consensus award. It's literally most valuable player. It's an individual award. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but the first year that Russ averaged the triple double and he didn't make the playoffs, he deserved MVP that year. I mean, he was literally the best player in the league. Like, you averaged a triple double. What else needs to be said? And so, like I said, if only if he continues on this pace. I mean, he just scored 55 points 2 nights ago, or a few nights ago on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And 44 points before that. Nobody's doing this right now, and I think it should be a shame if he didn't get that. But we're way ahead of that conversation. But AD's playing like the man.
Yeah.
And I think that was the plan when he signed. I think he was supposed to be the first option. I don't think LeBron was ever supposed to be the first option on this team.
Yeah. Well, with the Lakers, I mean, obviously their supporting cast last year and this year have been widely talked about, not that great. I haven't really been a fan of the Russ fit, but more so, like, they gave up depth pieces to get Russ. So it's not just Russ that has caused the problems there. I don't think he's a good fit next to LeBron and AD, but they also have nothing else. They're playing Kendrick Nunn and
Lonnie Walker's
Lonnie
balling.
Walker. And,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to disrespect any of these people, but like, do you really want Lonnie Walker to be the 5th best player on your team? Like if you have championship aspirations, probably not. But where the Lakers are, they will always have this in their bag with this roster, is that when Anthony Davis is healthy, he is a top 10 player in the NBA. And I think
go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry. I got a thought.
it's been easy to forget, like in 2020, I had Anthony Davis in my top 8 players. But like in the last few months, it's been easy to be like, well, I don't know about Anthony Davis, and then you see him play like this, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. Of course he's a top 8 player in the NBA.
Which I don't understand why he is under more scrutiny than guys like Kawhi and Paul George when he's played more games than them.
Yeah,
it's like they seemingly almost get a pass every single time.
Yeah,
but
it's totally fair. And but having LeBron and having AD, having 2 of the 8 best players in the NBA on your team does way more than you'd think. Like just that alone can get you to the second round of the playoffs. I think the Lakers would be better served still trading for depth pieces. But they can still make a splash with LeBron and AD playing like they're playing right now.
Yeah, health and maybe a trade or two, whatever. I mean, they still need shooting.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it, so whatever. But going back to what you were saying about AD, for the longest time, and it took me a long time to get off the bandwagon. Number one, because he kept getting hurt, and to me, injury doesn't change anything because injury's injury. Okay, if you're healthy and you start to underperform, then my tone will change. But AD was never healthy enough to prove people right or wrong. But I said for the longest time that when healthy, give me AD over that dude in Philly. Okay. But then I kind of had to change my tune because look what oh my God.
Joel Embiid.
Look what he did. Look what he's been doing, especially last year. I think he should have won MVP last year. So that kind of started to fade. But like you said, you phrased it perfectly. He kind of forgot. And I'm not saying that I forgot, but I kind of had to get off of that because he wasn't playing like he should have. And he's showing it now. Like the best version of Embiid that you've seen and the best version of AD that you've seen, which one are you taking?
That's so tough, but I would lean towards Anthony Davis. If we're just talking like the very, very best
that
I've
you've seen
both
him
guys play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough because I've seen Embiid hit that level so much more often than Anthony Davis.
And recently.
I'm probably leaning towards Anthony Davis, to be honest.
Okay.
I would lean Anthony Davis too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, the guy could defend. He could do everything that Joel can. He probably can't be as dominant on the block with his back to the basket. He's probably a better face-up player. That's to be debated, but that's a win-win situation either way.
Yeah, I just feel like Davis is more mobile. Like he looks less awkward moving around than Embiid does. And
absolutely.
And to be fair to Embiid, he does it effectively. He just kind of looks a little clunky while he does it.
Lumbering.
But he does it. So respect. But Davis looks more fluid than Embiid.
I think it's a lot of the, because growing up and when he was in high school, he was an undersized guard. Yeah, that's why I think that's where it kind of, where it comes to play. I don't know what Embiid's background is in that same fashion, but I mean, it makes sense.
Did you see the move that he put on? I don't know who it was that the Lakers were playing the other day, that he had his back to the basket. He literally, was it his back to the basket? No, I think he may have been facing up. He took one dribble, a hard dribble to the right, spun hard to his left, one dribble, and then came up and under and finished on the other side of the rim.
Yeah, he loves doing that every game. He does that turn and face, and it's money every time. When you look at what he's shooting too, like from the field, it's insane. I think he's shooting like 60-something%.
I have it pulled up right here, actually.
Like, yeah, it's something. Well, over the last 10 games, it's like 66% or something. And like that's usually numbers like that's the percentage that like Gobert puts up as like a rim running, center or or like DeAndre Jordan or some, that type of center would
Yeah.
put up. So it's insane.
Right now, I mean, he's averaging not a career best, but 27 per, a little over 27 per, 12 boards. 3 of them are on the offensive end, and his career high is exactly 28.1 points per game. Then he had a year that he had 28, but even. But the dude is, this is Anthony Davis when he's healthy. This is Anthony Davis.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're hitting that hour mark. So let's call it a night for this week. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Maddie, Mike, as always, love talking hoops with you guys. And I'm already pumped for next Wednesday. So
there we go.
Yep. Everyone make sure you check out aboutthefans.com. We know a lot of you out there are probably connected to the Miami Hurricanes Twitter. We're all connected to that. That's kind of how we all met. So I'm sure most of our listeners are in that sphere as well. So yeah, check out About the Fans. You're going to see plenty of hats, t-shirts, stickers, all that kind of stuff that will fit. So yeah.
Can I just say one thing too?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker. We'd appreciate if you guys can leave a review too. Yeah. Unless it's under 5 stars, then don't.
Yeah. Nice things only. Nice words only.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys. I will catch you next week. Excited to talk hoops again.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.